I'm going to hit go live in 3, 2. And it says we're live. All right, everyone. Hi out there. I might be a little laggy. If I am, please let me know in the comments. I have my VPN on right now, but I will get rid of it if need be. But I have a very special quiz today for our very special guest today, Friar Pesel, the one, the only, unless there's another one. Is there another one out there?
I don't think so. I mean,
Okay.
I kind of broke the rules using Friar, so
Okay. Well, then the
there's a
one and the
lot.
only.
That's right. A lot of fratres out there, but
Okay. We
Front.
are
similar.
Yeah, we are super excited. Today we are going to dissect him and all of his ideas live on the call. So if you have any questions or comments or concerns or anything, you want to throw some shade or some love, I'm sure whatever you want in the comments, and we'll definitely get to it. But before we do all of that, just some quick housekeeping here. I am Abby Quinn. It doesn't say that on my name here, but I probably should. This is my channel, so I'm assuming you're familiar with me and what I do. All of my information is on my website, SumerianAstrology.com. I have a slight fever, so you have to forgive me. I took something. I should be
Okay.
more normal soon, but my brain is still a little bit, it's cooking. It's sizzling in here.
Mm.
So yes. You can join us every Sunday or any Sunday at 11 to 1 p.m. Eastern for our meditation support group. That information will be on my website. You can also learn ancient astrology and learn Sumerian while you're on my website. I think that's pretty much everything about me. Nikki, why don't you go next? And then we'll
I love going next. Yes, this is
Yes.
great. I love introductions. My name is Nikki. I'm an astrologer. I'm a witch. I'm into a lot of different mysteries and the school of mysteries. I love researching data. I love doing readings. What else? I also work in the cannabis industry. I absolutely love that industry. I think it's healing. I think it's amazing. And what else about me? You can actually find me here most of the time. And then maybe on social media. I don't know. I don't know about the socials, guys. I'm on the fence about the socials. But I got an email. It's down below. You can always email me. Reach out, just talk, jam, whatever. Usually try to make myself available. So yeah, that's it.
That was great.
Tell-
That was fantastic.
tell me
Okay,
more, Nikki.
perfect.
Tell me much more.
Oh my God.
Keep talking.
So my favorite color used to be green, but now all of a sudden I'm really liking pink. And all of a sudden I'm obsessed with hearts. I like hearts all of a sudden. Like I'm super girly, into the girly stuff.
That's
Long walks on the beach, chocolate and hot bubble. Okay, like
Yeah.
I'll wrap it up. No.
Hey, that happened to me one time. I had like a really not to. You're gonna be talking a lot here, Friar. So I'll just piggyback on what Nikki said. But that happened to me once. I always loved blue since like the time I was little, and then one day I woke up and it coincided with this like this. I don't want to call it like an awakening or a download, but it was definitely a shift in my consciousness and my body and everything, where everything was like green. And I redecorated my whole house. I went all in and I just wanted green everywhere. And it kind of, well, I guess technically it's stuck because I still have green all around me too. But I would say that's pretty significant, Nikki, of some deeper transition or shift that you're going through. That's a big deal.
I would attribute it to the work I've done with Friar, actually, because I worked with Friar personally and I had a little bit of an awakening. But I know it was before that too. I've been like gravitating towards girly girl, pink, all of it. And I've always worn black, gray, like dark colors. Like if I had to have a color, it was just going to be green because it's awesome. And it's definitely weird because I don't know. I used to like pink when I was a little kid, you know?
Maybe it was suppressed. Maybe you're peeling off the layers of all that oppression.
I love it. I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, moment of truth here. Friar, why don't you tell us about a little bit about you, what you do, and how you got on this journey?
Ooh. So, yes, Friar Pesel Parvagredus would be my magical motto. Um, I am a dude who lives on the East Coast of the United States, mid-Atlantic region, um, where it's too hot for me, frankly.
And me.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
do well with humidity.
I spent a lot of time in Texas. I did some international traveling. Uh, Sweden was my
Where?
favorite
Where?
place.
Sweden?
Sweden, ja, har det
Makes
så
sense.
bra.
Yeah, yeah.
Nu kör vi. I am devilly stupid in the head about the Sweden.
Ah, yes.
Ooh. I like to learn languages almost as a just a hobby puzzle thing to keep my brain working. So I just have this bizarre collection of languages that I play with essentially. I'm not really fluent in much of anything, let alone English, but um, I like Latin, I like Swedish, I like Welsh, I like Italian, I like Hebrew, I like Yiddish, I like
What's your
Greek,
favorite? Can't say English.
Swedish.
Okay.
I mean, I took 4 years of Latin, at actual, in classrooms. So that's a really good fundamental basis
Yeah,
for
Has
that's
that
certain.
helped you? Has that helped you with any of your research too? Like, have you had to research things that were
It
in other languages?
it does, but I'm not necessarily going to like sit down and re translate the Picatrix or Agrippa.
Yeah.
There's a brand new translation of Agrippa, fortunately, so that work's been done. Um, Gosh, what do I do? I the thing I really want to do, my dharma, if you will, my true will for the Thelemites out there, is like one-on-one counseling type stuff under the auspices of spirituality for reasons. And I work really best one-on-one with folks. And what I try to do is use different techniques to get someone to know themselves better. You talk to a person one-on-one, and I try to make a lot of space for them to say what they want to say. And sometimes they run out, but I have utilized techniques that will get more voices on the table, and that's for sure. And I try to make it gentle, but it's more powerful than I realized, actually. The clients that I've worked with, it's been very, very gratifying to feel like I am of help. And by help, I kind of mean this. If you break your arm, I'm the cast. I am not the force that knits the bones together. That's you. I'm more like the, uh, stabilizing force to allow those things to happen. I try to keep it that way. I'm very Rogerian in my approach. I like to create a place where you feel safe to say what you need to say, and I'm not going to judge you. And we'll explore this stuff together. But again, I'm not the primary focus. You're the primary focus. I'm just sort of a psychopomp or hegemon or um, Pokemon who's who's there to guide. I'm not in front of you. I'm not like on the mountaintop. I'm beside you. Let's walk this thing together. And as such, I describe myself as a student of the mysteries just because I don't want to assume some title. I'm not some grand poobah. I'm not your guru. I'm not none of the sort. I'm just like a well-informed buddy who wants to walk with you and make sure you know you're not alone and make sure you have someone to talk to. And I have methods for relaxation and coming to some of your own inner voices that a lot of people don't even realize they have until suddenly they do. So that's the thing I want to do the very, very most is client work of that type because it really, um, through my various life experiences and through the things that I understand, I'm very suited for it. And I really do not love to toot my own horn. That it makes me uncomfortable, but I can say that that is a thing that I actually am good at. Is this
Is that what you're
one-on-one?
best at?
I am best at snarky comments, but
Okay.
this is
Maybe
a
a just
strong
a close second.
But
close second. Yes.
yeah.
I used to be a great guitarist. I used to be a fair to middling auto racer. I used to do a lot of things. I did IT. I've had fairly varied experiences. I mean, I was a club musician and played lots of dive bars, and you learn certain parts of life that can only be learned, during the night, right? In the
Yes.
like the server industry, or those things, when it gets about 2 o'clock in the morning and you see like this is a very harsh reality. So I'm not sheltered. Uh, but yeah, I have a very um varied set of interests, and they shift from time to time. But I've been a graphic designer, I've been an IT person, I've been a platform administrator, a club musician, as I mentioned before. Hell, I used to wash cars. Um, I was a porter. I've done all kinds of crazy. I used to clean out trailers. That don't do that job, especially in the
No.
summer.
What
Especially
kind of trailers?
like brand new trailers that sat on a lot, and they sit and they bake in the sun, and all
Like
those.
house trailers, like RV trailers or like
Yeah,
campers? Horse
no,
trailers, I don't.
like house trailers, like the kind that people live in, like single wide, double wide type thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, don't
Okay.
do that job, because they
Okay.
they make they make those things out of like industrial waste, as far as I can tell, and they sit and they bake in the sun and they outgas, and you walk in and you feel like you're about to die from the first breath. It's not a good job.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
So
Yeah. I'll avoid it.
um I've
Thanks.
done I've done lands I've done landscaping. I've been a landlord. I mean, just so many
But none of those
things.
are your calling. So you feel like your
No.
calling is definitely to help
I
people
it
and
is, yeah, it's the intersection of what I like, what I think will help people, what will make money, maybe. And if it's my true will, then so be it. I don't know. But I do know that it's something that I have natural proclivities for, skills that I acquired, but based on the way I grew up. Because basically I spent like half a century counseling my mother, because she's married to a very mentally ill person. And so you're not really supposed to do that when you're a kid. You're not supposed to be your parents' like substitute partner. And there's lots of especially ugly terms for that, which I'm not going to use. But even though that was an unhealthy thing, it did give me a great deal of natural skill in sitting down with someone. And then I spent some time, learning, training on those things, not just in counseling, but also other things that you wouldn't necessarily think were related, but are fungible and have transferable skills. Like I was a firearms instructor, and I learned a whole lot about keeping somebody really calm when they're really not.
Yeah, I
'Cause-
was gonna say there's a lot of mental
yeah,
processes that happen, and are taught when you're learning and teaching
yeah,
how to
yeah.
use a firearm.
So, so I think a lot of my interests came together. I mean, I went to college for art and design, and I even got my degree. So there's just, I bring a lot of weird life experiences into one locus and try to draw from those things, because if I'm trying to give examples, what I intend to do is, as I was taught by the NRA, was like compare the unknown to the known. Bring a strange concept into the realm of something a person already understands, and that helps a lot.
that's
So
good advice. Thanks, NRA.
thank you,
Yeah,
NRA. Thank
yeah,
you,
I
Eddie
do.
Eagle.
Yeah.
I do love
You know,
that.
I have a theory about um people in like who end up doing more spiritual work and them having a lot of them not totally being able to make something else work in the material world, like career wise. But like pulling out a lot of skills, having a lot of natural affinity. It seems to be the case with people who, I know it's like kind of cliche to say somebody is an old soul. I don't really think anybody's soul's older than anyone else's. I do think some people have more experience in, this incarnation in the material world than others, that they can kind of draw on. But it seems like those people tend to like they pull out a lot of their old affinities and end up being good at a lot of things, but not necessarily master any of those one things. And then they eventually it all kind of coalesces into a spiritual career or pursuit. And I'm all for making money, doing your like fulfilling your life purpose. If you can do that, that's great. I know there's like people have hangups about doing spiritual work for money, but we don't barter anymore. We don't trade chickens for, like what we're doing. So it's really not any different. You wouldn't go to anybody in the past, 10,000 years who's ever doing the spiritual work in your tribe or your village or community and just expect them to do something for free. Somebody's payment acts as an energetic access point for you to go in and basically serve them. So,
right. Although I will take 2 goats and a basket of yams.
I mean, yeah, you get a lot of money for some goats. Like they can be kind of pricey. Did I tell you guys about my nanny? She's from Tajikistan. Real quick. Because I don't think I told anybody, even in the meditation group. Maybe I did. I don't know. Her brother died like last year and they needed money for a headstone. So I gave it to him. So they bought a sheep, they bought a lamb, and they're like, you got to come to Tajikistan. We got this lamb that we're going to wait to like butcher until you come, yeah, I haven't made it to Tajikistan. And I'm like, no. You guys got to sell that thing. Like, why are you feeding it? They're like, no, you have to come and we can't butcher. My sister will not butcher it until you come to Tajikistan. So
that is a unique kind of pressure.
That is very unique.
Yeah. On the one hand, it's probably better for the lamb, but on the other side, it's like, it's just they're eating up the food, like they got to feed this thing.
Yeah.
So it sounds delicious, though. I mean, I'm all for it, but I just don't want to make the trip to Tajikistan with my small child,
That is a trip.
It is. So, Friar, now we come to, we have an idea about you, got some background. We know what you're into. I already knew that because your Jupiter's very close to your Antares. So in Scorpio, I could have told you that's and I think I did at some point, kind of point.
Yeah, you should
I think a little bit. But you have some techniques, I believe, that
you are correct.
Yes, that you have developed based on your practice in your various esoteric practices. Why don't you tell us, if you're comfortable, tell us a little bit about those. I feel bad, everybody, because I just made him, I didn't make him, but this Sunday on the meditation call, he definitely went into all the details. So I feel bad kind of making him have to rehash everything, but it is interesting though.
Yeah. So when I found the spiritual discipline that I was willing to really invest the time and money and pain and all those things in, right? Because there's a bunch out there in the world, and I was searching. I came across tons of stuff that ultimately I just didn't feel like it wasn't answering questions that I had for a very long time. And I found this tradition that I really liked, and it was answering all the questions, and I loved it. So I was doing the exercises that were part of going through the grade system. And in so doing.
Yeah, what system? What system did you decide on?
The evil devils of the Hells Angels motorcycle club.
Same, okay.
Ride. No, I'm kidding. This would be the Golden Dawn. And not the crazy Golden Dawn in Greece that's like all whacked out, but this is because people go look, they're like, I'm gonna search Golden Dawn. This guy's talking about Golden Dawn. Let me just go on the internet and find it. And then they find like Greek neo nasties, if you will. And I'm like, nope, not those guys.
You should definitely explain the differences, because
Yeah, you
there's,
should.
you said the Lima, there's all these different types of Golden Dawn branches. It's very, yeah, because I dabbled as well. I dabbled into it. I got into it, and eventually I obviously settled on astrology. But those paths are a little confusing when you see all these different
Well,
groups that are, branched off of.
Yeah, and to someone who has no idea what they are, but comes from like a Christian background, they just see devil worship. They don't know.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Look at all them devils.
Oh my God.
So yes, there was the original Golden Dawn from 1888, and I've tried to, and it's not easy to, because they're kind of secretive. I've tried to get as close to that as possible. There are still Golden Dawn temples running around. Some of them are better than others. There are different authors who've written different books about Golden Dawn initiations. I favor the Golden Dawn by Israel Regardie, the Black Brick 6th edition. Now you have to get the Silver Brick 7th edition, but that's okay. There's also Chick and Tabitha Cicero have their own Golden Dawn tradition, and they were friends with Israel Regardie, and he seemed to be pretty happy with what they were doing. They focus in their book on just the outer order work, which is really fancy knowledge lectures and a couple of rituals. And it's good because the knowledge lectures are extremely thorough, and they're not like the Golden Dawn of old, where they're like, we're going to make a map and it's going to have all the stuff you want. And now we're going to tear the map into tiny little pieces and distribute it through this enormous book for you to put together. That's what the Black Brick is like. But the Green Brick by Chick and Tabitha Cicero they don't do that. They're like, we're not going to make you hunt for this. Here's everything that you need to know for outer order stuff in one place. And as it happens today, I am wearing my hoodie that I got from Tabitha Cicero herself. So,
Did she sign it?
She did not. I was a little disappointed in that, but I'm still happy with it. And
it's a win.
Yeah, it'd be like if a Thelemite were to get some stuff from the Aleister Crowley official store on Etsy or something. But better, obviously. So yes, the Golden Dawn, 1888. This was a group of Rosicrucian Freemasons who decided that, so they were in Freemasonry, and they went to the SRIA, which is the Society of Rosicrucians in Anglia, which was somewhat more magic-y as a Freemason group, but they were like, nah, this isn't magic-y enough. So a group of 3 of them created the Golden Dawn to just be like, we're doing magic. And they used the structure of Freemasonry to structure the grades and certain teachings, but they kind of like turbocharged it and just really were into the magic side of it and less about the super morality plays and the tracing boards and things like that.
Yeah, I had read that those 3 weren't happy with the type of limitations that the Rosicrucians had around like the Christ consciousness and all of that. So I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. So they cracked it open. And that was in 1888, and I think their motto was quit the night and seek the day. Now, eventually that Golden Dawn ceased to be, and it splintered into various groups, like Paul Foster Case's group and Dion Fortune's group and Israel Regardie's group, and Aleister Crowley's group, because he was a member of the Golden Dawn too, and he went racing through the grades and didn't do the requisite time in to like, he's like the tray of brownies that looks really good on the top, but in the middle it's absolutely not done at all, and then you get sick. So he decided that he was going to take the Golden Dawn teachings, kit and caboodle, the whole damn thing, and run off and make that the core of his own group. He took over the Order Templi Orientis in Europe, which was the order of the Eastern Templars, and so he used that as his, so now I've got a group. And the Golden Dawn teachings were his outer order, and then he had like the inner order of the Astrum Argentum, and that's where the Thelema stuff really sort of takes off, and it diverges rather profoundly from what I'm used to in the Golden Dawn. But I didn't want to be in the Crowley current, because though he is brilliant and though he was a very hard worker and all that stuff, he was also a psychopath. And I just didn't want to get into the psychopath current. So
yeah, he's got that spoiled rich kid vibe. Like what do they call him? The kids that have like the trust. He's a trust fund baby vibe. And
yeah, and which is true. He
raging cokehead vibe.
His father owned a brewery, and so he inherited a lot of money from that, which he ran through doing his various things, discovering that magic was in the butt or whatever he was doing. And
sorry. In the butt, or in a goat's butt, actually.
Yeah. Well.
I mean, it's okay. Butt's a butt, right?
It's the butt. And yeah, he was also, like, when he was a kid, he was raised in the Plymouth Brethren, which is like a super hyper religious Protestant, I think it was Protestant group, and very fundamentalist, and the kind of thing that will twist your mind and make you crazy, which obviously happened. And also, he really was a psychopath from the go, because he talked about he did an experiment wherein he wanted to see if cats do indeed have 9 lives. And oh yes, he did bad things, but he didn't stop doing bad things. He moved on to doing bad things with people too.
Yeah, that's
so he was, genius, yes. Twisted, yes. Accomplished, yes. Prolific author, absolutely. But
was he good at magic stuff, at least?
That's actually a point of contention.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's got all this reputation for everything else, okay, but being good at magic.
Yeah,
I mean, I've never heard that he's come up with anything that was worth anything, to be honest with you. I've only heard about his wild lifestyle. And was it true his father was a reverend or something like that?
Yeah, in the Plymouth Brethren. So yeah, he didn't complete the Abramelin ritual. Like, he abandoned it, which you really don't do. It's like, I'm gonna conjure spirits and then quit halfway through. Okay. So these things running around in Bolaskin House, which has caught fire twice since.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't the successful rituals he did, I'm not especially aware of. I'm sure he did.
Yeah, I'm sure he did, actually.
I don't know if he actually conjured Karanzan. I don't know. The pigeons are still dead, so that did happen.
I did read about his oh god, he wanted to summon demons. He wanted to see demons, and
oh yeah, which he had a very hard time doing.
Yeah, he couldn't see, but his lady friend who was psychic, she was seeing him, and like, holy shit, like that's what I had read, but I'm not sure where I read it. It was years and years ago.
He tended to use his female and occasionally male partners as these sexual ritual devices, and he picked crazy chicks, or he drove them crazy. Hard to say, but his women companions often would start having they'd basically be possessed and start talking to him, and so he thought that was super fascinating. He would test them and ask them questions and write it down, and that's part of how the Book of the Law came about. That dude got into the Great Giza Pyramid, got in it with his girlfriend, and was doing, stuff. And
are you kidding? Wow.
Really? Yeah, back in the day, you could just walk right into that bitch. So
wow, yeah, not anymore.
Anyway, so I'm talking about,
look him up. I'm like, what the hell is he?
Yeah.
He's a Virgo. Oh.
And anyway, I was fascinated with Thelema when I was in my 20s, which you would be, because it's very rebellious, it's very libertine, it's like all the things that you are told aren't good for you, they really focus on, sex, drugs, rock and roll, all.
Oh, totally. Ozzy sang about him, like,
yeah.
So we're all like, fuck yeah, we're gonna do fucking magic and raise the dead.
That's right. And
smoke pot
and find them, find the magic in your butt and make cakes of light. So, but when I moved to Texas and I actually spent some time with actual literal fellow mites, and not just anybody, but like heads of the organization, I
Yeah, what was
discovered
that like? That's completely different than, white bread, golden dawn, right? I mean, because
I
they
d-
Israel Regardie did, I mean, Israel Regardie compared to Crowley, it would appear that he had a little bit more integrity.
they
I'm not
diverged.
sure. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
they
yeah.
certainly did. I've seen Thelemites develop through the system. I'm not going to deny that, but it was just sort of like the outer lifestyle that I was watching most of them lead. It was just too much for me. It was like, oh my God, you go to a Thelemite party and you're going to see all the things, and you
Like a Diddy
come
party.
like a
Is it
Diddy
like a
party.
Diddy party? Oh my
And
gosh.
not, I
Yeah.
mean, in some ways, yes, in some ways, no.
We don't know if Diddy had goats, so we don't know yet.
Well,
Like we can't be
yeah.
sure.
There were no
I know.
goats.
He was kind of advanced though. Didn't he have like drugs in the lube?
Oh,
Yes,
maybe, yeah.
he did. Yeah,
I heard-
that was the thing. No, I mean, mostly it was just lots of debauchery and married women hitting on me, which I just couldn't quite.
Oh, at the
At the
Lima
party.
parties?
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
I just,
Oh, there's they double as swinger parties too.
oh, the swinging is very
It's like ubiquitous
swingtastic.
in the yeah, okay. I gotcha.
They like to share. Sharing is caring.
Hey, there you go. Love. Share the love.
Anyway, so Thelema was a thing that I was sort of pointed towards in a way because I had read a lot of Robert Anton Wilson. He was very fond of Thelema. And other authors. Of course, I was into Led Zeppelin, and then you get to Jimmy Page, and who Jimmy Page was into? Aleister Crowley, and lots of roads were pointing to Crowley. He's on the Sgt. Pepper's cover, lots of stuff going on. But at the end of the day, I was like, nope, this ain't it. So I thought, well, can I get the magic-y bits without the total debauchery? Yes, I can. Golden Dawn. So but I didn't know much about it, and I didn't know where to really find good source material, and so I kind of forgot about it. And then later, when I had a just massive crisis that went on for years, and it just felt like there was no way out, and I mean, I was like code black. It was bad. I was trying to figure out like what's important in this world, what's important about anything at all, and then I thought, well, everyone seems to like Jesus in the main. And what was Jesus? He was a Jew, and he was kind of magic-y. So what's like magic-y Jew stuff? And it was Kabbalah. So started looking around for Kabbalah. Like I'm gonna, and of course it's the age of social media. So what do? I'm not gonna go crack a book, right away. Even if I knew where to find them, I'm gonna go on YouTube. And so I found Frater Xavier, as he pronounces it, Frater Xavier, and he seemed to have knowledge about all the things I was interested in, and he said that the book he was using, and basically his teacher was Kabbalah Magic and the Great Work of Self-Transformation by Liam Christopher. And at this time, Liam Christopher had no social media presence at all, but I did buy the book. And so the book is it's sort of like a workbook that requires that you have other books to reference, including Golden Dawn 6th edition and a number of things that he recommends. So to reading, I went, and me being me, I didn't just read the required reading. I read, peripheral reading and just a whole bunch of armchair occultism, but not necessarily, because there are definitely physical exercises like, get up and do your banishings. There are exercises you have to keep a magical journal. Someone called it a book of shadows, but this is just a magical diary. And you'd have these exercises like, for a month, do not use I, me, or mine as you write your entries. And month after month, it was stuff like that, very challenging. And it tested my patience. It tested my I started finding corners of my mind that I just didn't know I had. I found weaknesses that I didn't realize I had, but I also found strengths I didn't know I had, because the way the system works, it slow walks you through a very systematic way of finding different parts of your internal anatomy. And for me, it worked. And for me, it's a very complete system because it is spiritual, it's philosophical. It addresses so many things that I didn't know before that I really wanted to know. And from that, I'm circling this all back, because of the exercises that I had to do, which included meditations, which included visualizations, which included diary entries, which included, stand-up rituals, wearing a black robe and doing candles and the whole schmear. I got my wand, I got my dagger, I got my pentacle, I got my cup, the whole stinking bit. Between that and also, I kept studying. So I was reading like the actual source Kabbalah material. And then I got into Advaita Vedanta, which was really helpful, and believe it or not, has a fair amount of overlap with some of this stuff. And that was for jnana purposes. Like, it's very mental, it's very analytical, which I like. And then, the sort of the final piece of late was that I decided to start reading the Bhagavad Gita, and I found that Krishna served as an avatara, and it's more of a personal god that was frankly lacking in the Golden Dawn. God is very much a ephemeral thing that is very, very far away from you, ultimately, in this thing. And the Golden Dawn is meant to unite you with that, but it takes a while. For the people who, if they hear Tatuam Asi and they don't immediately become enlightened, then okay, now you got to do take the scenic route. And so this is the scenic route. But I like the scenic route. I'm a scenic route kind of guy. I'll take, jump on a motorcycle and take the scenic route. I like it. So it works for me. And
Okay.
so I
Go
took
ahead.
all that stuff, and that became the basis for meditations and visualizations that I use with clients. It's a very pared down version of it. It's not like an hour of ritual. It's we start with a relaxation technique, and then we do a breathing technique that has some visualizations in it, and then we start to explore the different parts of the person. Like Eckhart Tolle might call it like the physical body, the emotion body, the thought body, and then the desire body, and those all have their own little voices, as it turns out, and you can speak to them from the standpoint of the witness consciousness. You can be the witness consciousness witnessing your physical body, and you can talk to it, and it's rather surprising what they have to say. And when these things, when they come out, that becomes this incredible basis for further investigation. And I've had this happen with every single client that I've had. Now, I'm also ever so slightly hypnotic. It's just a natural skill that I have. And so if I decide to be truly hypnotic, that does come into play, because when some people say, when I do the exercises by myself, I don't get a whole lot out of it. But when you guide me through it, ooh boy, it's like, yeah, because I got to tell you, I'm slightly inducing you, actually.
It's
because
the deep bassy voice.
Yeah. And I think your Neptune is conjunct your Jupiter as well. So
there you go.
You like more of a superpower. I really loved the way you applied the elemental modalities to the meditations that you built, for me in our sessions together. And I felt like it was probably the best way to work with the elements when you're going inside of yourself. I've applied the elemental stuff towards like astrology and other things. And really, when you start working with it inside, I feel like that's where you're going to end up,
Yes.
understanding it better, when you can break those things down to just the four elements. People tend to, grasp onto those concepts a lot better when you talk about it.
Right.
And those internal processes that way. So.
Yeah, because of the way I use it. I use it as internal parts of you, like your internal air, which is your thoughts, your internal fire, which is your desires, your internal water, which is your feelings, and your largely external earth, which is your body. And that is a way to use that Solvay et coagula formula that is printed on the arms of the super scary Baphomet. That is, it's very Western, in so much as Western tradition, whether it's esoteric or scientific, one of the things they love to do is they like to take a thing and chop it up into parts. They just love to do that, and it's not necessarily the best way, maybe, but it does have its uses. And so what we're doing when I talk about elements, I'm talking about those aspects of you, and I like to isolate them so that we can talk about them, and that helps a lot. Or at least I have found that my clients respond to it extremely well, which is why I'm not so dismissive of elemental stuff, because I think that it pertains to layers of you, even as it relates to astrology. But then again, when I look at astrology, I think of it as a method of inquiry and a leaping off point for some internal investigations, which is where I'm focused. So I funnel everything into self-discovery, internal forces, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
and
Sorry.
not everyone agrees with me, and that's okay.
I do agree with you. I do agree. I think that's where some of the disconnect is. Like, that's what astrology is doing too. It's internal inquiry. It's all about looking at you. It's
Okay.
just taking those internal things and like taking them out of you and setting them over here so you can look at them, kind of like taking out someone's organs and putting them on a table so you can dissect them a little bit better and get a closer look, as opposed to just pushing around on the body. So
Right.
that's all it is, but it's still internal. I guess even when you look at like that's outside of predictive astrology, of course. Which is like, it's like its own thing. So we could definitely make that argument that that's not what that is, if it's trying to
Right.
predict.
Because my model is not dependent on, or at least I'm not going to get, how do I put this? I could, with my system, absolutely ignore what the rocks in space are doing and where they are. Absolutely. Because the maps that I have are kind of relatively static, and they don't depend on, placement in space and time that changes. Now, you can absolutely use the rocks in space that are in portions of the sky and use those as a leaping off point for further inquiry, and I have no problem with that. Predictive astrology, I start to feel a little funny about, but it's because, again, I'm taking all these things and putting them in service of self-development, self-discovery, self-growth for my clients. So this is, I draw the line at certain things that I'm not entirely sure are going to be super beneficial or relevant, but I think they could be. It's just not the thing. It's not the piece I'm focusing on. I'm definitely focusing on the internal architecture. And so far, and this mix of things that I created, this method of stepping through it, I had been playing with for a long time. I'd been thinking, like, how can I take this stuff that I'm learning and turn it into a methodology that would help people, that was approachable too? Because I don't want you to like take 2.5 years and read all the books. I want something that you can have an experience of being the witness consciousness from day one, and be able to view these pieces of yourself from that perspective very easily without me giving you 3012 knowledge lectures. So in some cases, it's very simplified, and it is taking the macrocosm and turning it into a microcosm, if you will, because you could argue that those layers of self are also like the layers of the esoteric universe, and that's something that the Golden Dawn does in fact argue. And in fact, the way they do it, and I'm maybe giving something away, but they teach you the stuff as though these are forces that are outside of you, and they give symbology for it. And I think most people, when they approach it, that's easier for them to kind of apprehend, like that, the idea that Taurus is somewhere out there and not in you. But eventually you turn this corner and you realize that everything they're talking about is a piece of you. And so
yeah, absolutely.
So
absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead.
So I start with that notion, but I don't name things in quite the same way. but I name them the things as you perceive them normally. Like the earth layer is your body. So I want the witness consciousness to focus on your body. I don't have to give it a fancy name. I want you to focus on your thoughts, which would be your air layer. Everyone's got thoughts. Everyone knows what those are. I don't have to talk about daggers or yellow or things like that necessarily. So I try to make it super approachable, things that people already understand. And gee whiz, it works. Like, I'm actually shocked at how well it works. I did not think it was going to be that powerful. I thought it was too subtle in some ways, and it's really not. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah. No, I love. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, Nikki, you I worked with Friar, and you still do, I think. What do you? So he like kind of walked us through the technical side, and you kind of touched on how it's been for you, like your experience. But can you talk more about maybe like how it's changed something? Not maybe it's only changed you, but maybe like how it's affected your life and stuff day to day.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Well, oh, okay. Yeah,
I know I really made you head
recalibrate my frame of thought. Oh, God. I was going to say something else, but no, no. So okay. So I met Friar, and he was like, this is what I do. I'm like, okay. You know, I was a little apprehensive because I'm like a very private person, and I don't really find myself sharing a lot of those deep things. But you know, it didn't really take much or long for me to get very, very comfortable. And next thing you know, I'm just dumping. A lot of our like our very first sessions were just me, just like, okay, this is the perfect opportunity to just spill everything out of me that I've had sitting inside of me for so long, that I had things come up that I just didn't even think you know, were a problem at all. You know, these issues, these are just things that you make sacrifices for. And, you know, there was a lot of like self-neglect, a lot of things that I saw that, you know, he didn't actually have to hold my hand. It was me talking, me speaking, him repeating back, him saying, well, you know, to asking you questions, you know, not like counseling questions. This is like spiritual. This is really, it's a lot more than what you describe, Friar, as like compassionate listening.
Yes.
Actually, it's a lot more than that. It's very metaphysical, very spiritual, and it's very, very deep. To be able to talk to somebody that understands where I'm coming from, because I'm a very spiritual person. I'm going through some very strange things, and things that you can't really explain to somebody in a healthcare, you know, setting. And I've been to those healthcare settings before, and I don't like to sit down with somebody who's not even listening to me and is thinking the entire time, what can I prescribe this person? They're fucking nuts. I think they need this, and this. You know, and I don't need pills. I know I don't need them right now. Maybe I do.
Right.
Maybe Xanax wouldn't be so bad. But
to interject, just to talk about that phase of it, yes,
yeah.
I operate, especially initially, under what's called a Rogerian theme, which is something that was created by Carl Rogers, and the way he dealt with his patients was through unconditional positive regard, which is to say, I'm not going to judge you for anything you say. Shit, I'm an occultist myself. I'm definitely not going to judge you for being an occultist. I'm not going to call you crazy. I'm not going to call the cops on you. Right?
Yes, I was so worried about. I don't do
is
counseling services because of that. You know, I don't need to be threatened or like feel threatened. And
no.
You want to be
who's
able
going to open up
my mind. Yeah.
So
Sorry,
so
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
no, it's fine. The initial playing field that I create, the frame that I create, is very much a Rogerian frame of whatever you've got to say. I'm here for it. I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to try to support everything you have to say within reason. You know, if someone says, I really want to go like destroy a building down the street, I'd be like, we should think about not doing that.
Right.
Right.
It's a very accepting frame. It's a very it's sort of very yin in some ways. So that's the basis, is that people, I just want you to talk. It's, whatever you want to talk about. That's where it starts. Where the later stuff that comes in, like when I start doing the relaxation and the meditations and the witness consciousness on throughout your planes, if you will, it comes later, because there's that surface stuff that you want to talk about, and then there's the deeper stuff that's hard to get to, and then this is the way I get to it. But please continue, Nikki.
Oh, okay. I lost my train of thought again. I've got like a leaky bucket head, you guys.
You were talking about how like the first few sessions you just kind of
Oh,
unloaded
yeah.
everything, but then
Yeah, the first few sessions were just unloading, getting comfortable. And it was super easy to be comfortable. And I don't know, for me, it felt good to be able to talk about my psychic experiences, all of the things that I've had going on with me in my life. Like I've always been told I'm crazy. You're probably schizophrenic. I used to have like my parents used to have people come pull me out of class to see if I was like, I don't know, mentally retarded or I'm autistic. Like it was just always like an embarrassing thing. To be honest, I'm just a true Pisces. Like I want to tune out. I want to tune the fuck out. Like I didn't like school. I didn't like my like I don't want to say I didn't like my family. I didn't like things, So I found a way to check out. And it was great to be able to talk to Friar about those things. It was great to be able to talk about like, hey, this is what I was picking up. And instead of like being told I'm crazy, I'm like, that's interesting, and it's encouraged. Like, and I don't know. When we started doing the meditations, and we did practice those. I'm kind of high energy, so I know it took a couple sessions for us to get me to like kind of settle in and calm down and actually do those meditations. I mean, it can get pretty hard. I spent some sessions just bawling my eyes out, talking about things that I have never said to anybody before, ever. And like, I probably would never say again to anybody. But maybe, I don't know. So when we started working on the meditations, I feel like, and it didn't take long, maybe a session or two, we established a good meditation practice for me. And it really helped open up some channels that I needed. Like I have a lot of self-worth issues, a lot of like internal grappling and things that I have that I had to come to terms with. And now is like the right time to do all of that. It was just perfect timing. And like, we still, we did how many weeks? I think we did 12 weeks.
We did 12 weeks, and then we went to coaching, and that's when things got spicy.
Yeah. So, but here's the deal with me. After we were done with that 12 weeks, there's definitely like some processing time. Like I rolled it right into wanting to, let's work on this coaching. Let's get some goals down. My my current like life just came crashing down because I wasn't willing to put up with the shit I was putting up with before. I wasn't willing to compromise my values, my integrity. I wasn't willing to be boundaryless anymore. There's lots of things that I thought I was doing out of love, out of sacrifice, that were just creating more, self-loathing, problems, issues. Like I can't get to my future if I like can't settle the things that I have going on now. And I'm one of those people where I'm like, well, it'll go away on its own. If you ignore it long enough, shit'll just clear up, right?
Yeah.
And which I'm doing the absolute opposite of that.
Yeah. Right? And Friar met me when I was having that attitude towards life. Like, just go with the flow. Shit'll work itself out. And it doesn't. It actually gets worse if you don't confront these things. They're not only internal processes, but these processes are manifest outside of you.
Sure.
So these are things that you have to deal with on the outside as well as the inside. It isn't just about like going to the gym and drinking water. It's paying attention to your feelings, paying attention to those things, telling people no. Oh my God, I'm just like rambling now.
Would you,
No, you're not. You're definitely
you like
not.
to
You are on a freight
would you
train
like
of
to hear
intelligent thought.
with your permission, I'd like to give my perspective on that relationship. If you don't
Yeah,
mind.
absolutely.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
so when I was working with Nikki, she was very much a guinea pig, in many ways, because I'd had ideas and different ideas about how to approach, getting inside that internal architecture and what the best approach would be. We tried the middle pillar. It didn't really work because for whatever reason, she didn't like it. And there's no judgment on my part about that. It's just like, okay, some shit's not going to take, and maybe it's not the right time or whatever. So she didn't like that, and I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna drop back to something that I think is going to be more subtle. Not entirely sure it was, but I started with this Reichian notion. Wilhelm Reich was a psychoanalyst, scientist, madman genius whose work was all destroyed by the government. And one of his theories had to do with armoring. Like you create this tension in your body as a way to protect yourself. And so I wanted a de-armoring technique, which I use, which is a kind of an intense series of tensions and relaxations, and that works very well for de-armoring. So I also use the primary, like the very first breathing technique you learn in Golden Dawn, which is the fourfold breath, and everybody uses it now, Navy SEALs, whoever, and it's just, breathe in for 4, hold for 4, release for 4, and hold for 4. And that's actually the neophyte breathing pattern. So everyone uses it, Golden Dawn uses it, it's fine. So we use that as a way to further relax. And I add some spicy bits into that too. Like I take it to sort of next level Golden Dawn stuff. There's some advanced bits that I use for visualizations and things. And that's now we're getting, that's sort of like an induction. That's starting to get people into a quasi hypnotic state. Now, from there, we're going to start doing explorations on the different layers, and which they're based on the 4 elements. And they correspond to the parts of you. Now, what happened with Nikki was that was all going great and it was going fine. We had the earth, the exterior body part doing pretty good. The thoughts were okay. Like we're talking to the thoughts, they're doing fine. We got to the emotional layer, a little choppy, but not so bad. But we got to the fire layer, the layer of the will, and shit exploded. And what we discovered was that there was an incredibly suppressed will and desire layer in Nikki that was, she described it as a woman on fire screaming.
Oh my
Now,
God.
you don't get to those kind of realizations through normal talk therapy. Okay?
Right.
And so that told me, like, oh, she's holding herself back in some really fucking profound ways, such that layer of her desire layer has fucking had it and is
Yeah.
absolutely over it. And once Nikki saw that in herself, I think that was, I'm not going to say overwhelming, but it was very powerful. And not long after that, she quit the program and basically started addressing in her outer life the frustrations. Like she had discovered, she had had experiences with her frustration embodied as a screaming woman on fire. And this screaming woman on fire, having been brought to her consciousness, started taking action in the world. And that's when tremendous change happened. Now, this is also incredibly common in the Golden Dawn system that takes years and years, is that you work that layer of yourself, and weird, frequently bad changes happen because you've kicked over the bucket And now, you know, you have made hidden internal things, uh they're now in your consciousness and you cannot unsee them. And suddenly you realize that there are external analogs to this internal thing that you have upset, if you will. So that was incredibly profound and ever so slightly frightening experience for me, because I thought, holy shit, I have kicked this bucket over so hard for her and she's making tremendous life changes based on it. Is this system too powerful? Oh shit. Um, I
Sounds
still
like
I
just
would,
the right
I,
amount of powerful.
yeah,
yeah, actually, I think it's perfect. I think it was the right amount of everything. It was the right time, the right ingredients. I personally hadn't taken the time to even focus on myself. I kept, I'd gone to Abby for a reading. I'd gone to Michael at One Sky for a reading. I was like, tell me about me, tell me about my life. Like, secretly, I just wanted somebody to be like, everything is going to be fine and great, and all of your relationship, all of it is just like, keep going. And like, obviously, things came up that needed addressing. But as an astrologer, we can look at those things, and if we're not really taking the time to get to know the client like you in a different way, we can't really, uproot anything. Sometimes those interactions that we have with our clients, it works. We can say, oh, okay, we have, this we need to work on, that we need to work on. But when we have regular scheduled appointments with somebody who's reminding us, hey, this is what we're working on, this is what happened last week, this is, like I said, I'm leaky bucket head. You get 2-3 weeks from now, I forgot all about it, and I'm like moving on, and not even like, sometimes it takes a day or two, and I'm like, off of my own little bubble, my own little world.
but
So
it
it's
did.
that consistency that helped. Like, it helped me stare at me in the face and say, hey, these are the changes you need to make if you want to be happy. Like, I've spent the last probably 25 years making every fucking body else around me happy, because I'm a mom. That's what we do. We just want everybody to be happy, healthy, safe, and we'll do that for anybody. But I'm at the end of that road now. And I'm learning that I've done what I've done for everybody else. I'm not getting in return. I need to give it to myself in return. I need to pour into my cup, or I can't help anybody else. And I've already crashed and burned and had to pick myself up off the floor, and get healthy again and do all of this stuff again. And I thought, God, the work has got to be over now. Like, I'm finally not sick as I was. I'm healthy now. And we started our sessions, and I was like, oh, there's always more work to do, isn't
Yes,
there?
there's always more
Yeah,
work.
there's always more work. It's always a journey. You're never just done. I would love that. I would love to be like, yeah, I'm healthy now. Now I'm just done. I don't have to try anymore. Like, it's a constant, consistent journey. But that's what I liked about our sessions, is that it helped me with that consistency, consistent meditation that Abby's been preaching the entire time, which I have not been
And
doing.
yeah,
I
and
don't do it
I'm
consistently.
I'm
Working
That's
on
why
it.
we
glad
have a
Working with
support
it.
group.
Yeah.
I'm glad it worked. I'm a little scared at how powerful it was, and the way that, like, it caused you to take immediate, relatively drastic action, but also action that was probably long overdue.
It really was. It was very, all the changes I'm making are very long overdue, and I'm very okay with all of the changes. And obviously, my my ex-partner is very okay with all the changes as well. So I mean, it's kind of like awesome in a way. So I mean, with every, what seems bad, there's always like endings, right? I mean,
Yeah.
but there's always new beginnings, and there's always like new, fresh things that come out of it. So, I mean, personally, like, I think it was tough making those decisions, but I like don't regret anything. I don't regret anything at all, actually. I don't
God, no
like,
regrets.
path,
No regrets.
nothing. Like the whole path here, nothing, no regrets at all. I mean, obviously, as a person, you look back and you're like, I could have been better at this. I could have done this. But when we're talking about endings, we do have to grieve. We do have to go through all of the processes. And not every session, a 12-week session with Friar is going to end in like a complete like overhaul of
No.
your personal life, I would hope.
No.
But go ahead.
I've done a lot of coaching programs over the years, like long-term ones, and I would be way more concerned about a program that didn't, like, you weren't a different person at the end, like you didn't have some big change. I would be very concerned about that.
Right.
So it sounds like you're doing like everything more than right. So I certainly wouldn't worry about it.
Thank you. Also, I wanted to mention this too. I have had a great level of disdain for therapists now, and I don't hate therapists or anything, but the weird open-ended nature of therapy is like you pay me every week or however many times you come, and it's open-ended. You could keep going to the therapist forever and empty your
Yes.
wallet. And so it's a reason that I delineate it as 12 weeks, because I'm confident enough to say that in that 12 weeks, we're going to have some changes. It's not open-ended. It doesn't go for years and years and years. And to your point, Abby, I think if you are going to a therapist for years and years and years, they're probably not helping.
Right. They're just signing off on something so you can keep getting your meds from the other doctor.
Yeah. So I did not want to be that. I wanted it to be 12 weeks. That's 3 months. That has got to be plenty of time to make some requisite changes. And to my great delight, that seems to be working. In fact, I was going to read something from Double J in the chat. He said, really quick, Friar helped me to shut off the random thoughts in my head so that I could focus. It has been beautiful to tell the intrusive thoughts to STFU.
That means shut the fuck up.
It does.
Yeah.
In fact, mean that. So I'm super gratified. This is a very much of a reinforcement that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, because I think this is the finest thing I could do with my life. I really genuinely believe that.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree.
I also like. No, go ahead. Please.
I was gonna say, I also like that I can see you and talk to you and talk to a real human being that isn't like a robot, that isn't just thinking pharmaceutical tech. Like, insurance company won't let you see me again if you don't start taking this Adderall. Like, right. I love that we don't have any of those other, social conditions, impeding any type of like care, any type of, you know what I'm trying to say. Sorry.
Yeah. And also, it is worth noting, if you are in my care, you do see my face. I step out of the transporter, so you actually do see my face. I'm not hiding behind the mists or anything. So just keep that in mind.
Chat, let me read some of these real quick. Chat with Lorna says, beautiful metaphors while stacking learning on what we already know. My favorite kind of learning. The metaphors are the cherry on top. I love it. You read Double J's thing. Chat with Lorna again said, this explains the excellent deep questions Friar asks the guests when they come on. It is his developed strength. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, for sure. He asks the best questions, which is great, because I'm usually like, I look like I'm here and I'm paying attention, but I'm definitely multitasking. And sometimes I space out and I have no idea what's going on. So he's saved us so many times, him and Nikki, for sure, because God help us. If I had to do this by myself, you guys, it would not be a good situation. Okay. Chat with Lorna says, sounds empowering if there's someone there to support, which you were, Friar. I went through similar things in a vision quest ceremony with rites of passage, but there were several elders and guides. Oh, that would be fascinating to hear more about. Chat with Lorna if you would ever like to come on and tell us about it. He also says, God, yes, I said this to my counselor in the 90s. You don't stay in the second grade forever. You should be to the next level. I never took meds either, by the way. Yes. So, yes, I think we've all, anyone who's been on the self betterment journey has probably dabbled in therapy at some point and probably has found it wanting.
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I
certainly
did
did.
too. I've
And
also been one of those people that has turned to religion as well. And I have to say that one thing that has bothered me about organized religion, and this is something that has been going on for a very, very, very long time. So it's the fact that we're taught that what we need and the answer to our salvation is outside of us somehow. And when that is drilled into your head over and over and over and over again, people go into therapy or they go into our services or they go into our thing, thinking something outside is going to help them. Some God outside of them is going to help. And that's not true. That's just not true. And that's just not the way it is. Like it's all internal. These are all internal processes. These are all things like you find God deep down inside of you. You don't find it somewhere out there who's coming to save you on a fucking screaming horse coming out of the sky. Catholic Jesus with his curly hair just flowing in the wind, with his fucking machine gun and whatever you want to fucking.
The one on the Velociraptor, you mean?
Oh my God, that was like really cool too. Really cool. I was thinking unicorn with wings and like flaming, stuff. But yeah, anyway, those processes are internal and like that's the big secret. That's the big secret. It's always been you. It's always been inside of you. So
well, that's the
point I was getting to.
Yeah, that's like the whole Gnostic point of it,
which the Golden Dawn is very Gnostic informed. That's part of it. So I will use this as something of a leaping off point to further explain. There's tons of things to explain, but when I talk about the different layers of you, like there's the 4 fundamental layers, which the 4 elements, those are very generic and baseline. Like when we're talking to, say, the air layer of you, the yellow Nikki, there's more. There's about 32 pieces of that in the Golden Dawn. So when I talk about that layer, I'm not getting into specifics of the various pieces. We're just talking about, think of it as like a 4-story apartment building, and we're just talking about like the 2nd floor in general. But that floor has 22 hallways and 10 apartments. And if you're okay with it, I'd like to share my screen just for a moment.
Go for it.
And then we will proceed to other things.
Yeah, I'm excited about this quiz. I put like 5 hours into this sucker, so it better be awesome.
Hell. Okay, so I'm gonna share this from a beautiful website. Can you see it? Are we there?
Yes.
Okay.
Is that your site or someone else's?
This is someone else's site, but it's very beautiful.
Okay.
So these are the 4 layers of self. These are also, it's the 4-letter name of God. So this is how that comes. And this is Yod-Keh, Vav-Keh. And this represents the fire layer. This is the water layer, the air layer, and the earth layer. And these are the different, like, you could consider these the layouts, okay, of the floors that I mentioned before. You've got we start with the earth floor, and then we move up to the air floor and the water floor and the fire floor. And you can see that there's, in these floor plans, there's a lot going on. With clients, I don't go that deep, but in my practice, I do go that deep. What you're supposed to do is meditate on each one of these rooms and each of these hallways, if you will. The 22 hallways are represented by the 22 cards of the major arcana in the tarot, and the 10 apartment buildings, if you will, are, so this would be all the pentacles. All these dots are the different pentacles. So 1, Ace of Pentacles, 2 of Pentacles, 3. So that the tarot is a way to solidify some of these things. And my work in the Golden Dawn is to really focus on each one in turn, take some time, meditate on it, really understand it, move forward to the next one, 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 so that you not just understand that layer of self in general, but the pieces of that layer. That's part of why it takes so long. So that's just a glimpse into why the Golden Dawn can be rather complicated. But I don't
lengthy.
Lengthy. And I don't bring that level of complication to this setting because I think I don't want to work with you for years for your sake. I want to work with you for like 3 months, and this generic way that I do it, just dealing with air, water, fire, and earth within you as layers, it seems to work just fine. And it's certainly powerful enough. So
Yeah,
that's
clearly.
so that's what's going
I know we're moving on, but when we have more time, Friar, I would love for you to show us all more about the Tree of Life and how it's connected to the tarot.
He needs to teach a course, and then we
I
can
would
sign
love
up
that.
for it.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Because
Yes.
I suspect it's probably like pretty detailed, so I think he needs to teach like a whole course.
There's a lot to it, and I do want to do that, and I will do my best. I feel the weight of the importance of it and the tradition on my shoulders, and I want to do a good job of doing it. But I do think, I mean, I was trained to help people make small explosions happen at the end of their hands and not freak out. So I think I can handle this.
Fireballs, you mean? Oh, I thought you were talking about like shooting fireballs like a wizard.
Like
You were
a
talking
wizard.
about like a gun, right?
I'm talking about a gun, yeah.
Okay.
So if I can handle gun stuff, I think I can handle this stuff.
Okay.
Oh my God, you did graphics.
I sure did.
That's me.
So cool.
That is what I look like. And there's my
This
bike.
is
You, I
everything.
know, I love it.
the most realistic representation that I could come up with. So I worked very hard on it.
You have to send that to me because that's awesome.
I'm gonna give you control of my Canva. I don't know why you don't have the access to it already. Like I can give it to you too, Nikki, if you guys want it. Like I have it shared for my businesses and we just all use it. So like Stephanie and Tyrone have it and whatnot. So like I can just give it to you and you can go on there and copy it or whatever. All right. So listen.
I did love the Jesus Jedi with the Smurfs, by the way. That was one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was good too. I don't know if this is going to crash my video card. That could happen. So I've got it. It's small on my screen right now, but it is a real possibility. I also don't know if my connection is going to hold out, but this game I don't think there's even a full 100 questions. Okay. So it's less than that, but it's called Friar Pesel Seal of Approval, which means you have to give your approval to one of these things. Okay. There's no getting out of it.
Oh God. All right. This is so interesting.
They are timed, but you have 10 seconds for each unless it states otherwise. Okay.
All right.
This means that you are allowed to give some justification for it as opposed to just picking one and moving on. Okay. So if it's really bad, you're allowed to like say why. Okay. Are you ready?
I'm ready, friend.
Okay. I'll try to read these things, but like if you just know the answer, you don't have to wait on me. Okay.
Okay.
All right. In 3,
All
2.
right.
Oh, noms. Oh, they're categorized. I had to organize.
Nom 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 nom. I like noms. Now I'm all hungry.
Skip. No, I gotta go to the next one. Oh, there you go. Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
Thin crust or deep dish?
Woof.
Oh,
hell.
Thin crust, deep dish.
Deep dish because I crave it. I don't eat it as often, but it's a super treat, especially from Chicago, from Giordano's. Oh my God.
Guinness or Jägermeister?
Guinness.
Okay, that's a good answer.
That was my drink of choice forever.
Okay. Pineapple or anchovies?
Sweet Jesus. Pineapple.
You don't sound sure.
I don't like either. So it would be pineapple because anchovies, at least,
Well, you've given it your seal of approval, so now the whole world can eat it. Let's see here. Fugu or unagi?
Unagi. Fugu scares the fuck out of me.
Okay. Calf brains or calf fries?
Calf fries.
Do you know what those are?
Are we talking about mountain oysters?
Yes, we are.
Bolios? Yeah. I'll eat those. Okay.
You'd really rather eat those? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, strong like bull. Because calf brains might have Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease in it, and I don't want that.
Okay. Kosher or halal?
Halal, believe it or not.
Yeah, I would too. Music.
Beautiful.
Fender or Gibson?
Gibson.
Really?
I have several Gibsons.
Okay. Piano or drums?
Drums. I've played drums in bands, including a lesbian punk band.
Have you really?
Yep. Lovely,
Were you-
lovely Ludwig van. I was so what happened is there was a lesbian punk band that was good friends with the bass player, and their drummer
Uh-huh.
flaked. And at the time I had super long hair and no facial hair.
Did they
And
make you like dress like a lady?
I kind of passed
Oh,
for
okay.
because I had people when I was that age, I had people asking me like,
Oh, you're
"Are
running
you
out of time. Mozart or
okay.
Beethoven?
Beethoven,
Death metal or smooth jazz?
smooth jazz."
Oh my God, for real? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not
Yes.
supposed to be judging. This is Friar Pesel's seal of approval. Beatles or Led Zeppelin?
Zeppelin.
I hate smooth jazz, you guys. I hate it. Hate it.
I
Christina
do too.
Aguilera or Celine Dion?
Oh my God, Aguilera.
I
Okay.
gotta be in the right mood for smooth jazz, but I've been listening to it a
What
lot
mood? There's no
lately.
mood for it. It's not a thing.
I don't know. I don't know. Once it starts turning into elevator music, I shut it off.
Okay,
so.
it's all elevator music to me. This mortal coil or dead can dance, and you better have an answer.
Dead can dance.
Okay. Accept it. Spirituality.
Mm.
Bhagavad Gita or Tao Te Ching?
Gita. Because the Tao Te Ching didn't make me cry.
Okay. It made me cry multiple times. Torah or Talmud?
Torah.
Agamas or Vedas?
Vedas.
Polytheism or monotheism?
If they're in my point of view, they're the same thing, believe it or not, but polytheism.
So monotheism.
Poly.
If they're the same thing, then they're monotheism, right?
Well, so the big question is, how did the one, which is monotheism, become the many, which is polytheism? So I interact with polytheistic type things, knowing of course that they emanated from the one, right? So
Man,
it's a
that was the
crummy
longest
answer.
10 seconds. You had so much time to answer that. Okay, moving on. New Testament or Quran?
New Testament. Ugh.
Spiritual authority or direct experience?
Shit. I mean, I think both are important. Scriptural authority, in so much as I've gotten a hell of a lot out of things like the Zohar and the Bahir and Sefer Yetzirah.
So scriptural authority is your answer?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
But only
Divination
just.
or prophecy?
Oh, I hate
It's
both.
still there.
Um,
I think. Gotta pick one.
divination by a nose, because I've had that experience.
Okay. Gods, gurus, and spirits. We have Shiva or Vishnu?
Shiva.
Jesus or Buddha?
Buddha.
Kitsune or Coyote?
Kitsune.
Sadhguru or Sri Sri Ravi Shankar?
Shankar.
Yeah, that's a hard one. Enki or Enlil?
Oh, Enki.
Samael or Lilith?
Woo! Wow. Samael, because he is of God,
Okay.
ultimately.
Okay.
Hence the L.
Metatron or Sandalphone? How do you say that?
Sandalphone. Metatron.
Okay. You're like, oh yeah. Dudes, Socrates or Plato?
Plato by a mile.
Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk?
I'll take Elon Musk, the space robot man.
Julian Assange or Edward Snowden?
Snowden.
Okay. Alex Jones or David Icke?
Listen, okay, that's not even a fair question, but I'm going to go with Alex Jones for sure. It's all declassified, okay? This is Operation Pooper Scooper
Yes.
in effect right now.
That was the right answer. Barry Soetoro or Barack Obama?
Barry and the Choom Gang.
All right. Heinrich Himmler or Joseph Goebbels?
How about Joey? Little Joey Goebbels.
Yeah, okay. All right. Dr. Mengele or Dr. Fauci?
Sweet Jesus. Dr. Mengele, because he's dead.
Yes, but okay. All right. Hey, you're the seal of approval here. Conspiracies. Flat Earth or Hollow Earth?
Hollow.
Men in Black or crop circles?
Men in Black. Although I believe in both.
Roswell UFO or Philadelphia experiment?
Philadelphia experiment.
Shedim or Jinn?
Jinn.
CERN or HARP?
CERN.
QAnon or Pizzagate?
Oh God. Tantamount to the same thing. I would say Pizzagate. Why not?
Moon landing hoax or
I don't like
9/11
QAnon.
inside job?
Well, I think the answer is obvious for me. All right.
Okay.
Inside job for sure.
Do you think people went to the moon though?
I think some of those missions were real. I think some of them were staged.
Okay.
And I know that's a punky answer, but
No, I'll accept. It's your approval here. Dualism or non-dualism?
because I operate in Maya so very much, I'm going to pick dualism, though I'm not discounting non-dualism at all. It's just
Okay.
something I haven't achieved very well.
Okay.
Right.
Divine immanence or divine transcendence?
Immanence.
Creationism or evolution?
I guess ultimately creationism, but not in the way that you would think. I mean, I'm not going to go to the dinosaur museum where the people are riding the Triceratops, right?
Do
But
they
I
have
do-
that? Is that a thing?
Oh, for sure. But I think, the world is a creation.
Okay. Determinism or free will?
Free will.
Sacred geometry or alchemical symbols?
Oh, I'd say sacred geometry, although I don't discount either, but alchemical symbols they're slippery. That's
Okay.
tough. That's a hard discipline.
All right. Inner alchemy or external ritual?
Inner alchemy, which is the point of external ritual. But yes,
Okay.
inner alchemy.
Tikkun olam or dharma?
Oh man, I like both so much. Because I'm doing Tikkun Olam, but I'm also trying to follow my Dharma, and I'd say Dharma would take the primacy.
Okay. Cosmology, universe or multiverse?
Universe.
Standard model or electric universe?
Electric.
Okay. Quantum mechanics or classical mechanics?
Quantum.
Black holes or dark matter?
Ooh. Black holes, just because I really truly detest dark matter.
Yeah, I think it's dumb and it's not real, but that's me. Michio Kaku or Neil deGrasse Tyson?
Kaku all day long and twice on Sundays. Neil
Okay,
deGrasse
cool.
Tyson is too arrogant for me.
Sitchin or Velikovsky?
I think Velikovsky is more interesting, though I'm not sure he's entirely right.
Okay. Intergalactic, planetary, intergalactic. And if you don't get the Beastie Boys reference, I don't know what to do with you.
That song started playing in my head.
Planetary,
right away.
intergalactic.
Okay.
I'd say intergalactic.
Oh, that was your answer.
Yeah, sure. Do it.
Biggie or Tupac?
Biggie.
That's so hard.
Biggie.
Darth Maul or Kylo Ren?
Darth Maul.
We're getting to the deeper questions, the important ones in life. Ziggy Stardust or Jareth?
Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars.
Okay. Godfather 2 or Empire Strikes Back?
Empire, which is one of the greatest films of all time.
Okay. The Office or Parks and Rec?
Haven't seen Parks and Rec, so I got to go with The Office.
Okay, good answer. Tommy Boy or Happy Gilmore?
Love both of those so much. Happy Gilmore. Take me to my happy place, Grandma.
Okay. True Blood or Game of Thrones?
I've not seen either, but
Okay. You got to pick one, though.
yeah.
Give it your seal of approval.
I'll go with the Game of Thrones because I like J.R.R. Martin's other works.
Oh, okay. Mandela Effects, Mariana Trench or Marianas Trench?
Marianas.
Correct. Monopoly Man monocle or no monocle?
Monocle.
Okay. Lindbergh Baby Found or Never Found?
Found.
Febreze or Febreze with 2 E's?
1 E.
Really? All right. Jif or Jiffy?
Jiffy, although I have a can of or jar of Jif. But yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Jiffy.
Yeah, I do too. We all do.
Fuckers.
I remember
Shoe
Jiffy
store
Pop.
or shoe source.
Store.
Okay. ET phone home or ET home phone?
Phone home.
It's not. Do you guys know that? It's not. It's ET home phone. And it always
That's
has been,
whack.
supposedly.
No,
Yeah.
no.
They
Yeah.
also edited that film to take the guns out of the hands of the officers, and they replaced them with radios.
Okay. Well, I believe that. Speed round. Ready?
Ready.
Football or soccer?
Soccer.
Communism or socialism?
Fuck. Neither one of those shit things.
You got to pick one. You have to choose now. It's
so
blinking at you.
Creeping socialism. Why not? Fuck the commies.
Okay. OnlyFans or Pornhub?
Ooh. OnlyFans, because I never go there.
Okay. Donner Party or Dyatlov Pass?
Ooh. Donner Party.
Jean-Luc Picard or William Adama?
Wow. Jean-Luc, because he was sort of my moral compass growing up.
Lingua Latina Antigua or Hellenic Archaea?
Latin, because I took 4 years of it.
Yeah, my Greek sucks.
My Greek's terrible.
Tabasco or Sriracha?
Sriracha.
Pyramid of the Sun or Gunung Padang?
Pyramid of the Sun.
Halloween or Christmas?
Halloween.
Good choice.
Dacrophilia or coprophilia? Okay.
I'm not into poo. I don't think magic's in the butt. But dacrophilia is probably even worse, but we'll pick that one anyway.
Okay. Team Edward or Team Jacob?
Team Jacob.
Which one did you pick?
Jacob.
Okay. Kittens or puppies?
Puppies, by far.
Oh my God. Guess the next color.
No.
Purple.
It was green. Guess the next color.
Orange.
I don't know. Hold on. Oh, it was red. Guess the next color.
Blue.
Purple. Guess the next color.
See, now it's a memory game.
You're blowing it. Guess the next color. It's a speed round.
Yellow. Yeah. Yellow.
It was green. It was close. I'll give it to you. There's a little bit of yellow in here. Guess the next color.
Purple.
It was yellow. First word that comes to mind. Ready?
I'm ready. Otherworldly. That's 2 words.
That was 2. 1 word.
Alien.
Okay.
Sauron.
Okay.
Hungry.
Okay. Friar Pesel approves. You have passed the test.
I have passed the test. Unconsecrated and
I love
unpurified, you shall not.
Okay, I'm kicking off my VPN. Oh, maybe I
Okay,
shouldn't.
Oh my God, I love it. That was amazing. It was a good one.
that was
Hold
less
on.
torturous than I expected. So
Yeah, it wasn't too bad, I don't think.
no. But, okay, wait. I need to know what I agreed to that was the opposite of coprophilia, which is horrible. So what was the other one?
It's the fetish where you want to see people cry. So definitely pretty tame. You picked you chose wisely.
Okay. Thank God.
Yeah.
So if there's something worse than coprophilia, I don't even want to fucking know. Cakes of light is bad enough.
There's way worse stuff. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
no kidding.
There's always bad stuff. There's the vomit one, you guys know, like can't get
Yeah.
aroused unless there's like vomit. You know, that one's pretty bad.
There was another weird one that a girl told me that her boyfriend could not get off unless he made her sneeze.
Oh, that would be rough. That would be really terrible.
I was like, that's pretty weird. Anyway.
I feel really bad for that
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, I used to know some people that were really weird. Like, I won't. No, I'll spare you.
No.
There's things I just shouldn't know. People shouldn't tell me these things.
Yeah, there's some things that like people just shouldn't ever tell anyone, probably.
Yeah. I agree.
You guys, I'm gonna pull up the sky and then we're gonna take a look at it here. How's that go? Or how do we feel about that?
Do that.
Do it.
All right.
He's gonna weigh in on this one.
Okay, Friar, I really think that you could give it a shot and probably be pretty accurate. And
I
you know,
think you could too.
so not to go down the giant rabbit hole, but I do. So in the meditation call, we were talking about, you know, some differences between astrology and tarot. And yeah, one of the things about astrology is you can do it intuitively. If you want to fully do it intuitively, you want to read it just like you would the tea leaves. You look up at the sky, you look at, you know, where's this and this. You do not have to do the math on it. Okay. You can just say like, this is my feeling about it. The same way you can with some tarot cards, except for, you know, unless you're a purist and you say that that's not doable. Can you guys see my screen? Can you see it right now?
I can see the screen.
Okay, fantastic. But
I find the ghosties to be distracting, but
here's where the issue comes in. If you're gonna say Scorpio means puppies and the sun means, you know, lollipops, that's where we
Right.
have an issue, because you're assigning erroneous meaning to it. Now, if you're gonna do something intuitively, that's totally doable. So, but that's a whole different conversation. We won't go into it too much now. I talked a lot about this. We probably have. I mean, we've been following the sun week to week. As you can see, it's definitely nowhere near Sagittarius. Right now, let me double check the date. What do I got on here? 24, 27. Yeah, that's today. So, the sun is here in Ophiuchus, and very close to Antares. So anybody who's in a position similar to Friar with their career, where you are in a position to help people or love and nurture or listen to people, this is definitely your time. Take advantage of it. It doesn't mean that people are for sure going to come out of the woodwork and find you, but if you build it, they will come, which apparently is another Mandela effect. And they didn't say that. It's supposed to say, if you build it, he will come. And I don't buy that either. So I don't know. They keep changing stuff up. But anyways, use this for any type of self-healing, or if you're in a healing profession, use it for anybody else. This is going to continue as we go through Scorpio, as we get closer to the galactic center. Everybody else's, as far as the sun is concerned, which obviously we got some time, everybody's intuition is going to kick in a little bit, regardless of the hemisphere you live in, and where, you know, all your stuff is in your personal chart. Mercury right now is right here in this leg of Ophiuchus. And do I want my lines? I guess I can pull them up. As it approaches the galactic center, if you have a strong Mercury in your chart, or you're just naturally very clairvoyant, or kind of, you know, like visually psychic, or possibly even clairaudient, that should intensify for everyone, to some extent. But for you guys, it's going to be even more intense. So lots of dream journaling, meditation, hopefully more visual. I mean, this is a slower process, but it's already happening. So again, take advantage here. Venus in Sagittarius, I think, is probably a good thing, even though she is a little bit more assertive when she's in an assertive constellation like Pabelsang here. But Sagittarius is a badass, okay? And he just takes control of whatever he wants, okay? If he wants to make something happen, he's going to do it, which means that any of the potential negative sides of having the goddess of war in here can actually be mitigated, and he can kind of control these things. At least that's how I read it. Now, again, if you're in some sort of toxic relationship in your personal life, in your body, in your, you know, home or workplace or whatever, this can maybe be a little bit more turbulent, because it's going to force some of this nasty stuff to come out. But you know what? Lance the wound, get it done, and just don't have to deal with it anymore. Sagittarius still hanging out, or Saturn still hanging out over here in Aquarius. Jupiter still big and bright and beautiful here in the Hyades, very close to the bull's jaw, which is called the bull's jaw, or the crown of Anno here in Aldebaran, and making its way to this void portion between Gemini, but still just a very, very creative placement. Mars is right here in the middle of Cancer. This is his home. This was the entrance to the underworld in Mesopotamia, and he was the god of the underworld. So this is him like sitting on his throne, which means if you have your emotions, your body chemistry, your Mars stuff, your ego, your identity, if you have this in order, you're probably crushing it right now. But if you don't have your shit together, this could maybe amplify things. So it really just depends on how this looks for you individually, but overall, like, it's there to serve you. All of this stuff is here to serve you, you guys. It's not meant to like torture you or anything. All right. So Nikki, I'm going to hand it off to you. You're muted.
The werewolf's probably out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Are you
I
talking?
had okay, sorry. I'm just gonna pull up my notes. And because I've been looking at these cycles, and I feel like they've been saying like a lot of the same things. So like as a whole, this cycle, we have the new moon coming up in a couple of days. So I feel like this whole cycle is encouraging like individuation, coming to an understanding on an internal level, like what values do you truly hold? What values do you truly like keep? And it's been a test of that, with Saturn making aspects to these new moons. So these cycle seeds have really begun in that way, where we're looking at those types of things, so, feelings and reactions could totally like volcano over. I think this is a month for that. We have Mercury retrograde in Ophiuchus. I think it just started on the 25th. The shadow period was a little funky. I don't normally pay attention to the Mercury retrograde things where I'm like, oh, I have to be prepared, or anything. I've just been allowing myself to experience it. And, I've seen a lot of astrologers say, oh, with this Mercury retrograde and Ophiuchus, things are going to come out, secrets, stuff like that. And I've actually like experienced that, which I thought was really, really strange. But I mean, I think it'll also have us retreating back into our old mental patterns of healing, maybe doom scrolling, maybe online shopping, whatever we find comforting. But deep old wounds could surface, secrets, all sorts of new information dealing with all of those Ophiuchus, Scorpion things like sex and death and money. All of those things I think could come up. Venus being in Sagittarius too, she's feeling more free and adventurous. And she's willing to take more risks too. And I think she can be compulsive in Sag. I think that she can make moves and then think later. It's kind of a fire sign trait. Kind of one of those things that fire signs like to do. Do the thing and then, and then think about it later. Let's see. She's not really quite meeting up with Pluto in Ceres yet. I personally think that meeting is going to be a little emotional, maybe. It could be depending on where it is and where it falls in your chart. On the negative side, you could see endings with business partnerships, relationships, maybe even your reputation is compromised. On the positive side, there could be a great weight lifted off of your shoulders. You could actually discover, experience like what love really is. That sounds pretty crazy and a little weird, but Pluto likes to purge. So, after the smoke clears, could be a huge relief. I mean, we'll see what happens. I'm curious. So the new moon too is also in a T-square with retrograde Jupiter in opposition, and Saturn is Saturn is squaring. So, the Jupiter opposition, I think with it being in retrograde, we have us kind of stubbornly holding on to our past beliefs and illusions about, work, what we do, our lives, what's holding me back. And I think a lot of this Jupiter retrograde has us introspecting, like, what more can I do with my life? I think a lot of people are asking themselves that question right now. What do I believe in? What more can I do with my life? What is holding me back? So, it's got us like searching a little bit for meaning. The Saturn square, obviously, I think has a, more serious energy to the cycle. It adds like a little bit more of a somber energy. Let's see. I wrote some things down about that. Well, I mean, it's our social relationships. It's definitely our personal relationships that are highlighted this cycle. And I think that, we're going to have to make some difficult choices or, definitely make some kind of choices throughout this cycle. Saturn's like slow, methodical, structuring, and I hate how slow he can be, but it teaches self-discipline, right? And you can't have any of those awesome like Uranus breakthroughs if you don't do the Saturn work. So Uranus, I mean, he's a reformer and awakener in a way, Abby. I really feel like he's a lot like Capricorn, but in a way of like being a foundation shaker. I'm still learning about Uranus and his functions because I don't really think he's as blah, as everybody says, like this, I'm not really seeing that in the what I'm collecting and what I'm doing. So, I mean, but I do believe that he is one of those guys that does like to shake things up, likes to keep things new, and has way better ideas than we do. And, you know, his retrograde in Taurus, and in my opinion, is kind of reminding us that that our safety, our well-being, and all of that has been built on these like false foundations of the past. And we have to, you know, clear the way. We're kind of being asked to clear these things out that maybe we don't want to, without having a clear picture of like what the future is. As the North Node is kind of combining with Neptune, it could be seen as more of like this divinely guided, you know, future. It also could be seen as like a disillusionment, but a future unclear. But Neptune's another one that I feel is like only half of what mainstream says true, and a lot of that Aquarian knowing energy. So yeah, I don't know. That's just like what I was playing around with when I was looking at the charts and seeing what this cycle was really about. And it's just like a buildup. It's just been an incredible buildup the past maybe 2 lunar cycles, challenging us to kind of purge, to let things go, to reevaluate and relook at everything in a different way. You know, it started out really on the surface, and now it's getting to be really, really internal. It's starting to get like, okay, now you're going to feel the pressure. And you're going to be forced almost to, you know, make a play, to do something, make some changes. You know, maybe that's not how it's playing out in your life, but I know financially people are stretched. Some people are stretched to their limits. And, you know, it gets people reactive. So I think it's a good time to chill out and try to mind your P's and Q's and mind your business, you know, and, you know, try to chill out. Try not to fall for the drama tactics and all the other bullshit that comes up. You know, try to... Saturn, I think, asks us, and as he's been talking to these moon cycles, I think he's asking us to just, you know, carry ourselves with some type of level of integrity, you know, stay above it, and, you know, God, just learn your lessons. Saturn's not evil. Saturn's just here to help. So
I'm on board with that.
Anyway, actually, now I'm rambling, so
No, you're good.
Yeah, I love Saturn. Like, I really hate how demonized Saturn has become. And I've just, the more I follow the Saturn cycles, the more I learn about, the more I fall in love with Saturn, like, every day. So there is no evil planet, guys. There is no bad thing coming for you. There's just potential energies that we have to work with. Venus meeting up with Pluto, you know what, that you might just have incredible fucking sex that day. You know, you might just get the best fucking day ever. You know, I don't, you know. I hope that's what happens, you know, but
I mean, Venus well, it interacts with Pluto throughout the year, but every couple of years, like, we get these placements, and it's not the end of the world for most people, you know.
No, it's usually just a change, and obviously our relationships are changing. That's what this buildup has been about, you know. So whether it's your, you know, financial relationships, business relationships, it doesn't have to just be, you know, you and your lover. Things could be absolutely fine between the two of you. It could just be business and family. I mean, this is the holiday season, guys. So, I mean, I'm sure you can pick somebody you have a problem with that you're going to have to see this month. So.
Yeah.
Chat with Lorna says my Mercury is an Ophiuchus. It'd be interesting if you can follow, like, have you noticed an uptick in the psychic perception, or like more of a flow in just like your thought process and whatnot? I'd be interested to hear. There's obviously a delay, so by the time she maybe writes something, we may not be able to read it. Astro Shahamaran says, all of my problems that I've got before the Mercury retrograde period are getting solved. That's a plus in retro times. Yes, I would agree with definitely.
Well, Fucus is healing, so healing is
yes.
Yeah.
My take on retrogrades, I don't see them as negative or really anything too unusual, but I have noticed that they do seem to open up old past life and karmic doors. And if you have karmic bullshit that you haven't addressed, it'll definitely, that's the time that it's going to come out. Or if you do, again, you have your shit together, now you're tapping into some old past life strengths and talents and whatnot. So at least that's been my experience. Chat with Lorna says, dreams and tuning into my son's radio station, finishing thoughts for him out loud. Oh, so there you go. Got some feedback there. Thank you for that. Friar, we got like 6 minutes. Do you want to pull up a couple of what it calls thumbnails? Yeah, do you want to? We don't have to.
Thumbnails? Pertaining to what? I'm sorry.
Astrology for the week.
Well, so I could talk a little bit about how I would approach astrology in terms of a method of inquiry for introspection. Okay, so the sun, I'm gonna do a little screen share too. Why not? The sun is in according to Time Nomad, it's in Scorpio, right? Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, so I'm not way off. I would look at the sun here, right? This is where it is on the tree of life. It is the balance point. It's the balance point between like the first emanation and the earth. More to the point, it is the place of the adeptus minor. When you reach this grade, you are able to see the paths, and they reach out to everything. So the notion is that the adeptus minor has full awareness of all these parts of themselves. Now, that awareness in Scorpio being it's a Caribbean water, I think, right? It's fixed water, right? Because I'm not super
I don't know.
strong.
I don't do that kind of astrology. I don't know. Nikki, do you know?
So,
yeah, sure.
Oh, okay.
Fixed water.
So the sun.
I usually think higher water, but.
So in this case, the sun being sort of a higher consciousness, an ability to view all the parts of yourself, you would say, well, the sun seems to be focusing on fixed water, which is actually severe, very strong water, Kabbalistically speaking, because fixed appertains to the column of severity, and that particular left column energy. So it would be you examining your strong emotions. That's where I would start as a method of inquiry. Now you can take it further and say, well, the sun is in 10 degrees, which means that it appertains to a particular minor arcana card, because each of the minor arcana cards covers 10 degrees of the sky. So like your 3 of swords or your 7 of cups or whatever, each one of those is assigned to a portion of the sky, and in that portion of the sky you have the deacons, which for some people it means that they, one of the angels, which is a deacon, controls 5 degrees of it, and the other controls the other 5. Or I've also seen it as like the angel of the day or the angel of the night of that 10 degrees. And of course, there's that tarot card that corresponds to that and the angels therein. So you could do ritual to better understand your consciousness being placed on your, strong thoughts, and use those angels in the, from the tarot card that pertains to that portion of the sky to better understand them. So you might do an invocation or pujas to those angels and ask for further guidance on your consciousness being placed upon your strong emotions. That's how you would use lots of Golden Dawn learnings as it appertains to astrology.
Well, that's all like totally reasonable and doable. So
yeah,
like that's really what we should be using it for, you know, and much more along the lines of what it was originally intended for.
Yeah. And so again, I always draw these things back to internal processes and methods of transformation in what you would call tikkun, which is the correction process of issues within yourself. So that is how I would use astrology within the context of the Golden Dawn. But I'll also say it's a little futzy, right? So it's not something you necessarily are going to be able to like look at a chart and just go bang, I've got, some people can. And you could, I should probably draw a chart that's got all that information on it so I could very easily go, oh,
yeah, you could probably do it.
Yeah.
Why can't, like, if there's not a system that already exists, like, would you be terribly opposed to, like making one?
There are, you can find wheels that include that information on the onlines. Like plenty of people have done that. Lots of ponytail thelemites have done that, and all kinds
but
of
they're
stuff.
probably using tropical astrology and like.
Well, so it is tropical astrology, but for me, I would just make the sidereal adjustment, which I have no problem doing. But the rest of it would just be the tropical pieces, because again, I'm not afraid of the elements in so much as what they represent to me, and they become personal very quickly, which is to say your earth element represents your physicality, and your air element represents your thoughts, and your water element represents your emotions, and your fire element represents your wills and desires. And occasionally you come across this screaming fire lady that lets you know that
right,
you got to do
demon fire lady.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't forget the demonic part. Yeah.
Well,
any questions?
Torturing to you.
Well, I'm glad that it wasn't the worst torture I've experienced. So
I have lots of questions, but I really think that we're going to need another episode, or you're going to need to do your own episode or something, because now I'm like, okay, I know this Kabbalah is connected to the tarot. I know tarot is connected to astrology. These are all like systems that were once, I think, used all together. It's like all these separate little components just smashed to pieces, and everyone's grabbing the pieces, and when you look at it, it all like really goes cohesively together. So it's pretty cool. And I love that you put the time in to actually read the books. Yeah, because I mean, come on, let's be real.
For what it's worth, I started in late 2018 on the serious path of this stuff, reading the books and stuff. So and I read and read and read, and I read things that were off curriculum because they were related. I have read many a book. So, but it takes a long time. So here we are 6 years later. Yeah, I'd be willing to do follow-up stuff. And I also will mention that I do have a blog, friarpesel.wordpress.com, which not only has my services on it, but I do blog posts. And what I'm doing right now is I'm creating a sort of a very light version of the yamas and niyamas. Just some general guidelines for behaving well, which will probably be helpful in general. And also, if you try to follow them, and I will be the first to say I'm not super great at them myself, it helps you when you if you decide to go into some heavy practice like a ritual practice or things like that. I'll simply say that it's really hard to meditate with a guilty conscience, and these sort of yamas and niyamas light, if you try to practice them, you'll come into your meditation space without quite so much guilt, and that helps. So
Sananda says how to research more of this template technology. So is your website a good source of information for that, or is there a place where
there probably is a place? I mean, you have to know what you're looking for. I may put a chart like that in my blog at some point if people would find that to be useful.
Probably, yeah.
Absolutely.
I do have that. I have that laid out in a spreadsheet, as I do. It's one of my spreadsheets has actually got all that information in it. But I could turn it, but it's a spreadsheet, so I could turn it into a wheel if I wanted to. So yeah, I mean, I could do that. But yeah, my blog, though it is about these smaller concepts like the four agreements and some general advice, I tend to use those as leaping off points for lots and lots of different esoteric things. So there's tons of links in the blog posts where you can learn a hell of a lot about the things that I mentioned. If I mention something that I think is not common knowledge, I will do my best to put a link to a place where you can learn more about that. So
yes,
you could.
I put friarpesel.wordpress.com in the chat, but his links are all in the video description too. Sananda was asking, so I stuck it in there. Yes. Yes,
Well,
everyone wants more information.
Yes.
So the more you can start pumping out all of your delicious information, Friar, the better for society and humanity at large.
I agree. I really do feel that way, Friar, because I have studied all of those authors that you have mentioned. I actually focused on Dion Fortune, and I feel like
she's great.
She's okay. She's okay. She's just okay. But I feel like you can take everything that all of those authors that you mentioned have and actually like practically apply it to life, because some of that stuff is so outdated, you can't apply it practically, and you actually break it down and you give it to somebody in a way that they can apply it to their life. So
thank you.
Gassing you up, man, because you are the real deal. I'm serious. I want to take your classes.
it is one of my primary drivers to, in fact, take this information, which is written in floofty old language, and make it approachable and make it immediately practicable to your life. That is something I work very hard on. So thank you.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, because there's been conversations we've had, private conversation, that I'm like, oh my God, I didn't know that. You're full of wonderful information.
Yeah,
so grateful that you did the show today and told us all about everything. Like, I love being able to, I don't know, you helped me so much. I really loved our 12-week sessions, and yeah, no, it's
well, thank
gotta gas you up. You're awesome.
Yes, definitely. Well, everybody out there, thanks for being here today. And you can get a hold of Friar. Like I said, I put his information in the chat and in the video description. friarpesel.wordpress.com. Be sure to subscribe to his blog and reach out to him and talk to him, see if compassionate listening or his different programs or whatever are maybe something that's right for you. Or even like, if you're not sure, you guys, he's on the meditation calls for the most part almost every weekend with us. You guys can jump on there. You just have to register. Friar, if you want, you can put a link. I can give you the thing to register or whatever for the meditation calls on your site too, in case you want like to funnel people over there so they can meet you and talk to you and get an idea about your very realness and not blurriness in real life.
Okay, we can do that. I did want to mention. No, I will. I did want to mention though that Marduk 50 is still in effect.
That's right, you guys. That's right.
Marduk so 50. if you communicate with me through either my blog or Friar Pesel, all one word, at gmail.com, and you just mention Marduk 50, and I don't care if you spell it wrong, then you will get 50% off the entire 12 weeks of compassionate listening. But this offer ends at the end of the year.
So the calendar year, right?
This calendar year, not the year 5785.
The clock is ticking. It's ticking, you guys. Get on it right now. All right. Well, thanks everybody again. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Friar.
Yes,
thank you everybody out there. We had tons of fun today. And you guys, reach out to us. Let's build a community and let's be real people and help each other, right? All right.
Right on.
Sounds good. Well, we'll see you guys
later. I hope you feel better, Abby.
Oh, yes, thanks. Me too.
Yeah.